What is up, everybody? This is your boy AJTRIP, and welcome to the Big Brother Week in Review. So, after Kaser leaves, who's the next target for the committee? With Christmas winning HOH, just barely by Devon losing. I think Devon, she dominated that thing. Anytime that she was up there, she dominated. She was up there, I think they said 6 times. So she was a dominant figure. And then she choked at the very ending, leaving Christmas to be the HOH. And with her doing the committee's work, the next typer was going to be Bailee and Devon. And it was going to be because they wanted Bailee out because she's an emotional player, and she would vote emotionally. She would not vote for the best player. She would vote for personally. And she's talked about how she turned the jury against Tyler. I think everybody in the hive, other than everybody in the hive, other than Haley voted for Tyler. Her, Rockstar, Fessy, Scotty, and Sam, they are the ones that voted for Casey. Haley's the only one that went away from the hive and voted for Tyler. So they want, and rightfully so. This should not be personal. This should, unless it get personal, unless it somehow get extremely personal, and they took personal shots or something like that. Then yeah, it should be that way. But I think that it is incredible that she was able to do that Christmas. She used the instead of outing her alliance, she used the whole thing where, I guess, they were talking about untouchables, and she said that Devon, she really didn't say it, but she implied it, that Devon was her untouchable. So she used that as a way to nominate both of them, and for both of them to go on the block, to send Bailee home. So perfect, right? Perfect. We've got them. Everything's fine and dandy. Veto comes. Christmas wins the veto. Ian doesn't play because he gets sick. Christmas wins the veto. Yes, so everything looks to be the same. Well, except something happens. Tyler starts. I don't know if he starts feeling bad, or if he's starts to miss Angela, or if he's a lot of things happen. A lot of emotions start happening with Tyler, and he starts and he has bad days. You have bad days in the Big Brother house. That's just the way it is, especially when you have loved ones outside that you haven't seen and you want to see. Everybody has bad days in the house, and we'll get to a very bad day for Cody very soon. But you have a bad day, and you just kind of deal with it. But there was a possibility that Tyler was trying to self-evict. And according to Catherine from last year's season of Big Brother, they said that it's just not easy to self-evict. The producers talk to you, then they get psychiatrists and doctors to talk to you and things like that, and and then all that is saying. So she said it's very hard to self-evict. So if Tyler is trying to self-evict, it would have been very hard for him to do so. And then I'm sure there's also some definitely things as well that at this part of the game, you don't want somebody to self-evict. The first 2 weeks, if someone self-evicts, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't hurt the game. But as you get into this, here we are, the 5th, 6th week of the game, the Big Brother. It affects the game, especially when you have an alliance like the committee that is dominating, that Tyler is a part of. Don't necessarily want to go. They necessarily don't want to have that go. So yes, the producers in particular, the executive producer Alison Gardner, she made come in and say, no, listen, come on, let's not do this. Like if you remember back in Big Brother 20, each week, Sam was apparently trying to self-evict each week. Each week she was trying to self-evict, but it never happened. Um, so and I think the same thing happened with that, where she was just, you get to the point of the game where there's no reason for her to say, and also it messes up the game as well too, because if you self-evict and something like that, and now you to the jury part, and now you have to focus on, you either have to change the season or even worse, have the fans be a vote. Oh, that happened in Big Brother 11 when when Shima was removed from the game. The Big Brother fans were the seventh they were the seventh jury member, and so it's just it's not something you don't want to see. So I think when Tyler could not self evict, he tried to get himself backdoor. Which, listen, it's fine if you wanted to do that, but here's the problem. I think Tyler went about it the wrong way. Tyler went and he talked to Bailee and Devon first. He went and talked to Bailee and Devon, and he talked to them and he apologized to them about the stuff that he had been doing, and he felt sorry and things like that. And he brought up the movement that they're part of and everything like that, which is the Black Lives Matter movement and the movement of trying to get a black winner on Big Brother. And that was something that he just should not have brought up. He just should not have brought it up. And it just wasn't the way it was supposed to be. He just should not have brought it up, because bringing that up, I think, he first of all, he shouldn't have went to talk to them. If you want to try to get backdoored, he should have went and talked to Christmas first. We went and talked to Christmas, talked to backdoor, see if she was actually going to actually do it first off. And then if she said that she was, then you would go talk to Bailee and Devon, and maybe you'd even take Christmas with you. Talk, and then you can talk about that. But he went and talked to Bailee and Devon first, and that was his problem. He should not have done that. He should not have talked to them again until he realized that it was actually going to, it's actually going to be an actual problem. So that was bad. And then there's the whole stuff about the Black Lives Matter movement, and he should not have brought that up either. The race should not be a factor in this show, and is being brought up by the black people. It's being brought up by Bailee and David and Devon, and it should not be brought up at all. And it's constantly being brought up by the Tweediots, on the hashtag, and they need to stop bringing that up as well. It's ridiculous. Nothing in this house is based on race. The Alliance of Six did not just say, "Hey, we're 6 white people." Yes, and here's the ridiculous part of it, right? The ridiculous part of it, because they always talking about how people on Twitter, all the black people. First 3 evictees were white women. First 3 evictees were white women. Kaiser and their man. And then now we have Bailee. She's the first black person to be evicted. You're gonna have 3 black people possibly in the jury. I do say that because I just don't see, poor Devon. She was the first one off the wall last night. So so Devon, David, and Kevin are going to have to be taken to the finals, and I don't see that happening, because I just see the committee and Enzo running this house for the rest of the time. And yeah, I think there's always a chance that they can turn on each other to 6, and I think there's always a chance that David, who's come close, maybe even Kevin can win an can win an HOH, and maybe even Ian. Ian might take a shot at that 6. But right now, I just think is that those 6 players in Enzo are right now running this game, and so I just don't see I just don't see them going going that route. I really don't. Um, so yeah. So then all of that happens, and Christmas wins the veto, and Tyler trying to get himself backdoored, and so. And Devon and Bailee, they kind of got their hopes up, and they thought it was going to happen. It did not happen, which led to a fight between Bailee, Devon, and on Christmas. And listen, these people, again, the people on Twitter are just it's ridiculous. Any sort of aggression towards a black person is deemed racist, and that's just not the case. It's just not the case, and they're smart enough, but they're playing the race card. We're in a world where everybody thinks anything towards black people is racist, which is fucking stupid to begin with. But that's neither here nor there, right? So, it is now going into the house, and it's just foolish. All 3 of them, Christmas, Devon, and Bailee, they look like idiots fighting. They look like idiots. All of them. Christmas clapping, and Devon doing her shit, and Bailee was, even though Bailee was an idiot, she was the lesser of all the idiots, at least. At least she shut up. So it was just garbage, total garbage. So we come to finale night. And actually, there's a whole thing that I just totally skipped over this week because of all of the drama. We had powers introduced this week. They had powers introduced, and they had a game that they played last week that gave house guests 3 powers, and the 3 house guests were Christmas. She has the power to keep somebody from getting put up as a renown. Danny, which she has the power for somebody to win HOH, to play in the HOH again. So usually the HOH does not play in the next competition, next HOH competition, unless we go from 4 to 3. So she has that power so that if she wants to, she can play in the next one, or so that. And David, surprisingly, he has a power. He has a power to for disrupting, and he can veto a nomination, and I think he can actually replace the nomination. I don't think the HOH does. I think he replaces the nomination. I can't remember that off the top of my head, but I believe he replaces the nomination. So, and that may fit into it here into a second. So we have all of this drama, all of this consternation between these 3 idiots, and unfortunately, Cody's grandfather passes away as well, and that brings a realistic to the house. It always does when somebody's grandpa passes, when anybody passes away, and so it does seem to be the grandfather. I think the first season was 16. Derek and Frankie, grandfather, passed away. And then last year it was Sam. Sam's father. Sam's grandfather passed away. That's a grandfather by marriage. And then today's Cody's grandfather passed away. This past week. So and that brings a calm over the house, and that shows you how real everything is, and so it's when that happens, the game seems to stop, and the silliness and the fighting seems even more foolish, and everything like that. So coming to yesterday, Bailee was voted out, yada yada yada, like things. and then we have um, the head of his commentation. It was the wall. Like I said, Devon fell off first. Within minutes of leading it to just like I said, I'm not a Devon fan. I never have been, never will be. I don't find her appealing at all, not one iota. No. I don't find her appealing game wise. I don't find her appealing man wise. I just don't. She just I can't. I'm waiting for her to go next. Um, but I did feel bad for her because she just she wants to win something, and she just couldn't. Memphis had a bad back, and Memphis stayed up there. Memphis smartly, because the first three to fall were going to be um, have-nots, and so Devon fell. Then David, he fell a long time after, about 45 minutes later, and then Ian fell, and then Ian fell. But after Ian fell, Memphis fell, so that he wouldn't, that he wouldn't be have not. And Memphis is in a great spot. He's very comfortable. No one is really even coming after him. He's playing old man game. He's playing old man Big Brother. Where he goes to sleep and when at 10, when he goes to sleep, when he wakes up at 7, and he's the first one up. Usually, drinking coffee and things like that. So he's playing old man Big Brother. But he's in a good spot. No one is really thinking about getting him out. Now that was different because after his HOH, when he was very abrasive towards Nicole, Anthony, and David. There was a lot of people but he seemed to have smoothed it over with his alliance. And I actually think that's smart because there's always going to be someone who gets on somebody else's nerves more. So, and he's been laying low with people. So he's playing. I think Memphis right now is probably playing the best game. He really is. He's probably playing the best game right now out of everyone. So yeah, and then we had all of this. It came down to Danny, Nicole, and Cody, and Cody and Nicole fell. Danny won. She's won her first thing in a while, and she's HOH. And so it seems like her plan is to put up David and Kevin as nominees with the option to backdoor Tyler. And so, like I just mentioned about David's power, right? I believe, I don't know if this is correct, but I believe that he can not only, void her nomination of him, but I believe he can also replace the nominee. So the question will be is if that is the case, who will he replace it with? I think he could do Christmas because Christmas did his girls wrong of Bailee and Devon. He seems to think that Ian is in with them, so he might put up Ian, which would be absolutely incredible. It would be doing their work. It would be doing their work. He could put up Nicole or Cody as well. It's amazing. Janelle and Kasher told these guys that this is what was going to happen. This is what happened, and they went cuckoo and they said bye bye. And they just didn't think that they were just thinking that Janelle and Kasher were two old school people who just didn't know what the hell they were talking about. But everything that Janelle and Kasher said has pretty much come true. So what would you think? Right? The veterans know more than the young fools, right? And let me say this, Cases never made it to the jury, right? Cody called him Mr. Preacher. He's never made it to the jury round. Doesn't mean that he doesn't know how to play this game. He's had some unfortunate things happen to him. One thing was his own thing where he just he didn't he didn't listen to he didn't listen to he listened to the wrong person, and he gave up his household to Jennifer in season 6. In season 7, they turned on James, and it kind of turned on it, but they didn't listen to James, and James didn't kind of turned their back on him, and they went back and they got Kaser, so. So that's just what it was. And in this season, unfortunately, he had, he came in on the bottom end. He came in, two big threats, Casey and Janelle, and he was giving, he was talking to the wrong people, talking to Memphis and talking to Christmas, two people that were in the big alliance, and that was just it. And really, it wasn't going to be that way, because if Christmas and Memphis weren't in the big alliance, I don't think that would be happening anyway. I think it still would have been, it still would have gone out the way that it would happen. What needed to happen was Memphis needed to win that first HOH, because then he wouldn't have taken out Keisha. He wouldn't have taken out Keisha. He would have done some other thing, and then we can see what goes on with, with the things in the house. So yeah, that's what we're gonna see. So we're gonna see what happens today. I'm kind of looking forward to it. See what happens with David and Danny's nominations and things like that. And it should be very interesting day. It should be also a very interesting week. Is Tyler still on her radar? You know, what happens with David's power and things like that. How many powers happen this week? Could all three powers be played by next Thursday? Could David's power, could Christmas power, and could Danny's power all be played in this week? This could be a week of some incredible things happening in the Big Brother house. And we're in the jury, so that's always something, a big deal. One more thing before we go here. People have caught on to some of the stuff that's been the Big Brother house guests have been talking about, Ian, and there was some comments made about Ian, and some people laughed at the comments, and it's no, listen, it's not a good thing. It's not a good look. Obviously, it's not a good thing. It's not a good look. But I would also say that these comments and these things are not looked. You know, I don't feel they're done in malice, right? I don't think they're done with hatred. They're not done with with the intent to anything like that. They are just they're these are comments that are trying to be made to be funny, and maybe they're not. Maybe they're not, and I don't know. If the same comments were made in front of Ian, maybe he might laugh, maybe he won't. I'm not sure. Um, I find Ian to be someone who doesn't take himself too seriously. Um, Especially when he talks about having fun with the dog competition, and what he did with the acting and everything like that. So I find him someone who doesn't take himself too seriously. But who never knows? That could be a sore spot for him. So it's unfortunate. It looks like Nicole has already lost some sponsors from that, from her laughing at some of the comments. So it is what it is, and it's unfortunate. That's what happens. You go on Big Brother, and you're filmed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and things are gonna happen, and whether it's saying small comments like that, or whether it's early in the season, Memphis used the R word. You can't say that word anymore, and there are many other things that you can't say. There are other things like this, and even this stuff with with Christmas and Bailee, even that could that there are people who are going to deem that as a bad look, and that could affect Christmas businesses and and everything like that, and her clientele. So all of it is just it's a really bad look, and I kind of just wish people would you know I kind of wish that people would stop trying to get people fired, because that's really what this is about. It's the Tweediots that try to get these people fired from their jobs and lose their sponsorships for things like this. Now, if it just happened, like you talk about 15, when stuff happened in 15, I wasn't too deep into it like I am now. But when all that stuff happened in 15, and Aaron lost her stuff, and what's his face, and Aaron, Gina Marie, Amanda, and Spencer, when they all lost their jobs and lost their income and things like that, I'm not sure that it was because fans were tweeting at the companies. I actually think it may have been because they actually did something on the TV show about it with Aaron. They actually did something on the TV show about it with Aaron, and then that might not I think that got picked up by some news outlets, and then that's how Aaron then lost her stuff. And then it just happened with Jean Marie, happened with Amanda, happened with Spencer. Because listen, you can be off color, you can be off. I truly believe there's nothing wrong with being off color, with using some other languages that there's nothing like the big the big ones that you shouldn't never say. But use some off color language and things like that when you're in the privacy of your house, things like that. Maybe make off color jokes you wouldn't make, jokes you make with friends that you wouldn't make with other people that you don't know. Like that. I think that's all fun and dandy. But when you go on this and you're on national TV and 24/7, 7 days a week, some of this stuff may happen, but it should happen organically. It should be it should be that it should be they find out you know they find out you know she was laughing at Ian after laughing at a joke that was made by Ian, who's autistic. Yeah, we're gonna have to maybe gonna have to let her go. That's not a good look for our brand. Other than people saying, here she's laughing at Ian. Look at the Ian. That's not us. I say this. I put this on Twitter. And I say this all the time. There are a lot more horrible people who watch this show than the people who go on the show. The people who watch the show think so badly of the people who go on this show. People who go on this show are actually good people for the most part. People who watch the show are the most horrible people in the world. Really, they're some of the most horrible people in the world because they relish the fact of making someone lose their job, lose income, lose shit like that, and especially in the midst of a pandemic. So, yeah. Well, that's it for me this week. Like I said, I believe I said this at the beginning, right? There was no Big Brother Weekend review yesterday on Thursday because of the NFL, and I did my special NFL edition, there. So that was good. So we're having a special Big Brother Weekend review today. And so yeah, this will be fun. I'm glad to do it. Should be back next Thursday in its normal time and place. So make sure you are there. And click the notification bell so that when I put out a video, any video, but it's particular for this one, we're talking about the Big Brother Weekend Review, when it pops up, you can go ahead and find it and click it and immediately watch it. So make sure you do that. Post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me what you guys think about everything that went down this week. Let me know what you guys think about Danny winning the HOH. Who is she going to choose, and what could happen with David's power if she chooses David? Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy AJTRIP signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.